Welcome back. You are now watching video 6 and the continuation of this video presentation, the ignorance of white and black supremacy exposed, in my series of video presentations called The Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell. And thanks very much for joining me and for being with me this long. If you did not watch video 1 to 5 of this presentation in the order of 1 to 5, I strongly suggest that you please do so first, because by so doing, I think you may be able to better appreciate and possibly understand the content and my reason for getting into so much detail. And then you will have more comments for me or feedback for me, which I will appreciate. Now, before I delve into this video, please let me just briefly say something on the word curse for a moment and clarify any misunderstandings or any seemingly contradictions owing to the fact that this series of videos is called The Redemption from the Curse of the Black Spell. I also ask that you stay tuned to this channel, the right number, for my upcoming presentation wherein I will define, answer, and explain in much more detail the words curse, blessings, spells, what are they and how they are cast or performed in everyday life, etc. But for this presentation, I just ask that you accept that a curse, however you may define it or think of it, is that it is not a good thing. In my previous video, I think it's video 3, I asked the question, and I quote, why are we as a race of people continuing to accept, believe, embrace, and perpetuate Satan's lies and his systems, religious, and their many false and denigrating doctrines and ideologies which teach that we, the African race, are cursed to a life of servitude, a life of slavery and subordination, a life of subhuman bondage to all other races of people on this, our planet Earth. When the evidence shows that since the invasion of Satan and his company of devils upon our planet Earth, all races of people from our natural native earthly human race on this planet have been subject to his political and slavery economic system and are all being enslaved. My point here is this: if it is true that all other races from amongst the natural native earthly human race have also been the victims of slavery, and if it is true that the chief architect of slavery is the alien god called Satan, the devil, and if slavery is a curse, then we must logically conclude that we have all been cursed, or at the very least all races of people at some point in their history, if not all at the time, are victims of the curse of slavery. So we should be very careful whenever we are pointing fingers at others. And next very important thing we as African people need to find out and know for ourselves is who is the God that loves to curse people and reduce them to slavery and being less than natural native earthly humans. We need to know that. Is he our God or is he, other people, God or gods? We need to know that. We need to know, and we should know these things. From my perspective, my God and the God of my African ancestors, under no circumstances whatsoever, would ever curse and deliberately cause evil to come upon me or to come upon I, the mystic philosopher, period. But not so with all the other people's God or gods. Their gods need and must be reminded of who and what they are. They need to be reminded that they are God. Above all, they are easily offended. They are insecure. They are power hungry, vengeful, revengeful, fearful. They have split personalities. They require sacrifices. They are difficult to please, if at all they can be pleased. They are domineering and controlling. Most seems to hate women. And the list goes on and on and on. But those are other people's gods and not mine. And I don't have to worry about what my God will do to me because of what I think, do, or what I say. For there is no logical reason to fear my God. But I must always be mindful and very mindful of what the other people's gods will do if given the opportunity to do to me. And above all, I am mindful of what the other people will do to me in the name of their God. For their God, and to please their God, even when I am out of the reach of their gods, they will try to reach me for them. So I'm not afraid of my God. I have no fear, no worry or anything about my God. The God that always harm Africans or harm me as an African, will always try to harm me as an African, to curse and to do all these things, are always other people's God. But we'll get to that later. So yes, I, the mystic philosopher, am aware that we, the African people, and the natural native earthly human, have been cursed. And for your information, part of helping to remove that curse is the reason why I, the mystic philosopher, I am doing this and many other videos. I am doing these videos to help you, or to help us remove the curse. There is an old saying that I grew up with in Jamaica, and it said, God help those that help themselves. So we have to begin by helping ourselves first. And I'm just trying to bring some new light to you so that we can help each other get rid of this curse. We have been cursed. But what most of us don't know is that the curse is not by our God, our hue, or our source. We have been cursed, but not by our source. We have been cursed, but not by our origins. We have been cursed, but not by our mother nature. We have not been cursed by our source, which is the source of all sources. Unlike what others are having you believe, our God did not and has not forsaken us, Africans. Our God did not and has not rejected us, Africans. Our God has not given us over to the will or to our real and formidable enemy or enemies. However, as a people, we are just being deceived into not knowing who and what our God is. And as a result, we are being deceived into calling upon, worshipping, and seeking favors from all other people's gods. But I will have much, much more to say on this subject in an upcoming video titled Insanity: Why I Think All Black People Are Insane. So please stay tuned to this channel, the right number, for that video. And I want you all, my African brothers and sisters, to know this as a fact. We have been cursed by the alien invader god called Satan, the devil. The same old serpent, the deceiver, the father of lies. His host of demons and his chosen people that I identified as the religious, political, and economic elites. The oligarchies of this planet. And here is the curse that is holding us as a people down. We have been deceived into thinking, believing, accepting, embracing, naming, answering, listing, profiling, and calling ourselves black or Negroes and all their synonyms. That is the curse that has been and are being bestowed, conveyed, and pronounced upon us. It is also called the black spell, and our God did not do such things to us. Isn't it amazing that there are people that I personally know, seen, and have observed, other races such as some Asians, from other races such as some Asians, some Indians, some Pakistanis, some Latin Americans, some Sri Lankans, some Arabs, some South Americans, etc., that have more carbon and melanin in their skin complexion than some of us Africans and peoples of direct African descent put together. And they don't call or refer to themselves as being black or as black people. And some even take serious offense to other people calling, comparing, and referring to them as black people. My question is this. My question is this. Are they truly smarter than those of us that are calling ourselves black and are answering to the name black? Or is there something they know and understand about the word black that most of us, and particularly our leaders, do not know and are choosing not to know? Remember, people, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I will have a lot more to say in an upcoming video on the subject of Caucasian slavery, so please stay tuned. I will also have a lot to say about curse and what some people, or what some of curse and what some of the other people's gods, or some other races of people's gods have claimed to have done to us, and what these races of people are claiming that their God or their gods have done to us Africans in videos in next video, when I will be talking about sentence evaluation in an upcoming video right here in this series. So stay tuned. But for now, let me continue where I left off earlier, where I introduced this infamous document called Willie Lynch letter, and I quote, for example, if you take a slave, if you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer. And being a slave is one of the basic ingredients of any incidents to the maintenance of the slavery system. For example, if you told a slave that he must perform in getting out our crops, and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops did not mean our crops, and the slavery system would break down, for he would relate on the basis of what our crops really mean or really meant. So you have to be careful in setting up the new language, for the slaves would soon be in your house talking to you as man to man, and that is debt to the economic system, to our economic system, unquote. From this quote, we now know and understand of a fact, and as public record, that unlike what some of your leaders and professors are teaching today, our African ancestors and slaves were never taught the slave masters' heirs and successors and the economic system's language, which of course is the elite English, which is of course is their elite English language. We also now know and understand of a fact that it was not their intention then or now for us, the descendants of African slaves, to learn, know, and understand their language, period. For then, and only then, would be, for then and only then would be their equal, and only then could, and there's something wrong here. For then and only then would we be their equal, and only then could we and would we be able to demand that we are treated as their equal. And they know over 300 years ago that if that should ever happen, or if they allowed that to happen, their slavery system would collapse. It would die. And for anyone to think, believe, and teach otherwise is definitely not wise. They would not change the formula that has worked for over 300 years to be teaching us their language, to be having us understand and dissect and know their secrets. I don't think it's wise to think that they would do that. Their system is working for them. Their ancestors implement it and put it in place. So let us not be deceived by those who are, pretending as if they know the language and we are all equal and hoki-dory, as they would say. From my perspective, it's not wise to think that way. It's not logical. It's not sensible. But that's my perspective. I would like to hear your comment on that. For, as I have said in another video, that the slave master's secrets are hidden in his language, the English language. And to get insight into his secrets, which will aid us in freeing ourselves, we must learn how to decode his language and extract his information from it. And for your information, the book of books, or the book or books for decoding his language, as I've mentioned before, is his English dictionaries coupled with logic and our own common sense. This is very important, my African brothers and sisters. From my perspective, the closest we'll ever get to decoding the slave master's secrets is to know and understand his language. When we learn, or should we learn, know and understand his language, then we will truly begin to set ourselves free. Then we will begin to discover the importance of having our own language reactivated, for unlike what some of you might believe, it is not lost, because it is a part of our natural humanity. It, meaning our language, is coded in our DNA. We are only being confused by the alien language. Our language is just being dormant. When we think honestly, when we act in goodwill, when we know what we want to say, how we want to communicate with other people and to be at peace with other people, that's our language. We are natural. We are the natural, native, earthly humans that instinctively and naturally know that we are to coexist with all other natural and native things of this earth. To have a symbiotic relationship with everything that is here. We are not alien to the planet. We are not here to destroy it. We are not here to study nature, to conquer anything or anyone. We are here to coexist, to learn from nature, our mother, how to have that symbiotic relationship with everything. Now, to quote a friend and wise mystic, the elder Dr. Francis James Gordon, and I quote, "There is no need for us to invent any new key in order to set ourselves free. For the same key that the enemy uses to lock the door is the same key we must use to open it." Unquote. In our case as African people, the key that is used to close the door to our minds is the language. The language, the English language. We need to decode it, the English language, and set ourselves free. So it is imperative that we learn and understand and encourage our children, our young ones, to learn and understand the master's language as quickly and as much as they can. That is the key to set ourselves free, or at least this first step towards 1,000 miles begin. The journey towards 1,000 miles, I think it was Confucius who said this, begins with the first step. And here the key is to know and understand the language so that we can decode the secrets and start to set ourselves free. This is the end of video 6. So please switch to video 7 now or at your convenience and join me for the continuation of this presentation, The Ignorance of White and Black Supremacy Exposed. I am the Mystic Philosopher. It gets better. See you then.